You know, they never thought you'd listen to someone like me. Why would you? I'm the guy they warn you about. A freak, a maniac, a lunatic with a painted smile. But here you are, sitting in your own misery, while their laughter echoes in your head. And what's worse, you let it get to you. Oh, they hurt you, didn't they? Bruised your ego, trampled over your heart like it was nothing. But hey, why would they care? You're just another piece on their chessboard, a disposable pawn. They took your kindness, your trust, your loyalty, and they turned it into a weapon against you. And now you're here, broken, silent, wallowing in your defeat. But here's the truth, sweetheart. You let them. Yeah, you did. You gave them the power to treat you like dirt, and now you're crying about it? Pathetic. They didn't just disrespect you, they disrespected what you stood for. And instead of standing up, instead of showing them that fire burning in your chest, you chose indifference. You think that makes you strong? It makes you weak. It makes you a shadow of who you could have been. Their disrespect deserved anger, real anger, the kind that turns pain into purpose. But no, you curled up into a ball, didn't you? Hiding in your silence, thinking it'll make them regret what they did. Newsflash. They don't care. Your indifference isn't teaching them a lesson. It's giving them permission to keep walking all over you. Oh, you think you're the bigger person? That's rich. The bigger person doesn't stay quiet. They make their presence impossible to ignore. And you've been nothing but a ghost, haunting yourself with all the things you could have said, all the things you should have done. They laughed in your face. They spat on your dreams. They took every ounce of respect you gave them and crushed it under their boots. And what did you do? Nothing. You sat there, let it happen, and convinced yourself that walking away was the high road. It's not. Walking away without making them choke on the weight of their own arrogance isn't strength. It's surrender. You know what makes them worse? They knew you wouldn't fight back. They saw the cracks in your armor, the hesitation in your eyes, and they exploited it. You think they didn't see it coming? Oh, they planned this. They're predators and you were their prey. And now they're out there laughing about how easy it was to break you. But I'll tell you a little secret, one they don't want you to know. They're terrified of what you could become. Yeah, that's right. Deep down, they know that if you ever stopped wallowing, if you ever stopped pitying yourself, you'd destroy them. That's why they hit you so hard. They needed to make sure you'd never get back up. But here's the thing, you're not dead yet. You're still breathing, still standing, barely, sure, but standing nonetheless. And that's enough. Enough to turn this whole damn game around. Enough to make them regret every word, every laugh, every smug little smirk they threw your way. But first, you've got to let go of this indifference crap. It's killing you. You're not above them by ignoring them. You're beneath them because you refuse to confront them. You need to stop running. Stop hiding. Stop pretending that silence is strength. It's not. Silence is surrender. You want revenge? Good. But it's not about hitting back. It's about rising above. Not in the way they expect. No. Not with words. Not with apologies. Not with some fake act of forgiveness. You rise above by becoming untouchable. You grind. You build. You create a life so big, so loud, so undeniable. They can't even say your name without choking on their jealousy. But to do that, you've got to wake up. Wake up and remember who the hell you are. You're not their victim. You're not their punching bag. You're not some sad, broken soul wandering through life, hoping for scraps of respect. You're a goddamn force of nature. And forces of nature don't stay silent. They roar, they rage, they destroy everything in their path until nothing is left but their legacy. You want them to regret what they did? Make them remember your name. Make them wish they never crossed you. Not with petty words or empty threats, but with action. Real, undeniable, unstoppable action. Because here's the truth, my dear, they don't deserve your indifference. They deserve your wrath. Not the kind that burns out in a flash of anger, but the kind that simmers, that grows, that transforms you into something they can't ignore. So, what's it gonna be? Are you gonna keep letting their laughter echo in your head? Or are you gonna make them choke on it? The choice is yours. But remember this, every second you waste in silence is another second they win. And you were never meant to be silent. You were meant to roar. Oh, you're still here. Good. I was starting to think you'd slither off into the shadows like you always do. But that's what they're counting on, isn't it? They expect you to crawl away, lick your wounds, and let them bask in their victory. But tell me something. How does that feel? Knowing they've already moved on, celebrating your downfall while you sit here, stuck. Does it burn? Does it claw at your insides? Make your stomach turn? Good. That's the fire you need. Not this fake indifference. Not this mask of, I don't care. Because let's be honest, you do care. You care too much. And that's the irony, isn't it? The one who cared the most is the one left broken, while the ones who couldn't give a damn walk away without a scratch. But you can't change that now. No amount of tears, no late night screaming at the walls is gonna rewrite the past. So stop trying. Let me tell you something about pain. It's not your enemy. No, pain is your greatest teacher. It's the only thing real enough to wake you up from this pathetic slumber you've been living in. Pain doesn't lie. It doesn't sugarcoat. It strips you bare, forces you to face the truth you've been too scared to see. And the truth? You let them win. Yeah, it's harsh. Yeah, it hurts. But it's the first step. You have to admit that you handed them the power. You let their words become gospel. Let their actions define your worth. And now, look at you, shattered, trying to piece yourself back together with the same hands that let them break you. But here's where it gets interesting. This is the part they don't see coming. They think you're done, that they've broken you for good. But that's where they're wrong. Because broken things don't stay broken. They either crumble into dust or they rebuild into something stronger, sharper, deadlier. So, what are you gonna be? Dust? Forgotten? Swept away like you never even existed? Or are you gonna rise? Rebuild yourself from the ashes they left behind? Because let me tell you something. They're not ready for that. They're not ready for the storm you could become. You've got all this anger, this hurt, this betrayal festering inside you, and you're just letting it rot. Why? Do you think holding it in makes you noble? That bottling it up makes you strong? It doesn't. It makes you a ticking time bomb, ready to implode on yourself. You want strength? Real strength. Then take all that pain, all that anger, and use it. Mold it, shape it, turn it into something they can't ignore. Turn it into power. But let me be clear. It's not about proving them wrong. Oh no, that's too small, too petty. This isn't about them anymore. This is about you. About becoming the person they never thought you could be. The person you were too scared to believe you could be. They took everything from you, didn't they? Your trust, your dignity, your sense of self. They left you with nothing but the shattered pieces of who you used to be. But here's the thing about being left with nothing. It means you've got nothing to lose. And that, my dear, is the most dangerous weapon of all. They think they've seen the worst of you, but they haven't seen anything yet. They haven't seen what happens when you stop caring about their opinions, their approval, their pathetic little games. Because when you stop caring, when you stop giving them control, you become unstoppable. You want to make them pay? Then stop hiding. Stop playing small. Stop letting their actions define you. Take back your power. Build a life so big, so bold, so damn undeniable that they can't even whisper your name without feeling that knot of regret tightening in their throats. But remember this isn't for them. This isn't about revenge or proving a point. This is about you. About finally becoming the person you were always meant to be. So what's it gonna be? Are you gonna let their disrespect define your story? Or are you gonna write your own ending? Because here's the truth. Your indifference isn't enough. Not for them, and certainly not for you. They deserved your anger, sure. But what they'll never recover from? Your success. Your resilience. Your refusal to stay down. That's the kind of revenge they'll never see coming. Oh no. No, no. You don't get to drift away now. You don't get to nod along, pretending you've heard enough, like some half-hearted sermon. This isn't a game. This is your life, your existence, your one shot to make every damn second count. And here's the part they don't want you to know, the part no one's gonna tell you. You don't need their approval. You don't need their permission. Hell, you don't even need their apologies. What you need is to stop waiting for it. Because here's the truth, kiddo. They're never gonna say they're sorry. Never. You could bleed yourself dry, begging for their regret, and all they'd give you is that smug little smirk, that oh well too bad shrug that makes your blood boil. They don't care. And you know what? That's the best gift they could have ever given you. Freedom. That's what their indifference gives you. Freedom from their expectations, their games, their endless cycle of taking and taking and taking until there's nothing left of you but a hollow shell. But let's be honest, you're not free yet. You're still chained to the idea that they owe you something. Respect, closure, validation. And as long as you keep clinging to that fantasy, you'll stay exactly where you are, stuck. So, here's the deal. Let it go. Let go of the apologies that'll never come. Let go of the respect they'll never give you. Let go of the twisted hope that someday, somehow, they'll look at you and finally see your worth. They won't, and you don't need them to, because your worth, it's not up for debate. It's not something they get to decide. It's not a damn currency they can hand out or take away like some cheap prize. It's yours. Always has been, always will be. But here's the kicker. If you don't see it, no one else will. That's the hard truth. You've spent so much time looking at yourself through their eyes that you've forgotten how to see yourself through your own. And until you fix that, until you stand in front of that mirror and see the warrior staring back at you, they'll keep winning. You think this is about them? It's not. It's about you. It's always been about you. About the way you keep selling yourself short, the way you keep shrinking to fit into their little boxes, the way you keep handing them the knife they use to cut you down. But not anymore. No more excuses. No more waiting. No more holding back. You've got fire in your veins, power in your soul, and you're wasting it. Wasting it on silence, on indifference, on this half-assed idea that walking away makes you the better person. It doesn't. Walking away makes you invisible. And you weren't made to be invisible. You weren't made to blend in, to fade into the background, to be some footnote in someone else's story. You were made to stand out, to roar, to dominate, to take up space and make the whole damn world feel your presence. But that's not gonna happen as long as you're sitting here, licking your wounds, pretending you're above it all. You're not. And that's okay. Because the moment you stop pretending, The moment you face the raw, ugly truth of what they did to you and what you let them do, that's the moment you take your power back. You want revenge? Fine. But don't waste it on words. Don't waste it on screaming matches or petty little games. Your revenge is your success. Your revenge is every step you take, every move you make, every ounce of strength you build until you're untouchable. But here's the thing. It's not gonna be easy. The road ahead, it's brutal. It's lonely. It's gonna push you to the edge of everything you think you can handle and then shove you right off the cliff. But that's the point. Because every time you get back up, every time you fight your way out of the darkness, you get stronger, tougher, smarter. And one day, you'll look back at this moment, at all the pain, all the betrayal, all the nights you thought you wouldn't survive, and you'll laugh. You'll laugh because you'll realize it didn't break you, it built you. So, what's it gonna be? Are you gonna stay here, letting them win, letting them define your story? Or are you gonna rise? Are you gonna take all that pain, all that anger, all that fire, and turn it into something they can't ignore? Because here's the truth. They don't matter. Not anymore. The only thing that matters now is what you do next. And you were never meant to stay down. You were meant to rise, to roar, to become unstoppable. Oh, I'm not done with you yet. Not by a long shot. You think you've had enough? That you've heard it all before, don't you? But let's be honest. You've been hearing the wrong voices all your life. Their voices. The ones that told you to stay small, stay quiet, stay in your place. The ones that fed you lies, dressed up as kindness. And you believed them. You let their poison seep into your mind. Let their words carve doubts into your soul until you didn't even recognize yourself anymore. You let them make you think you were less, that you weren't enough, that your fire wasn't worth the fight. But let me tell you something about fire. It doesn't care who tries to smother it. It burns, it consumes, and you've been holding back that fire for far too long. You've been keeping it locked away, afraid of what might happen if you let it out. Afraid they might hate you for it. Afraid they might finally see the truth. You're not the quiet, compliant little puppet they wanted you to be. You're chaos. You're destruction. You're everything they fear, wrapped up in a shell they thought they could control. But here's the thing about fear. It only works if you let it. And you've been letting it rule you. You've been letting their opinions, their judgments, their pathetic little games keep you trapped. And for what? To protect their fragile egos? To make them feel better about themselves while they stomp all over you? Why? Why do you care so much about what they think? Why do you care about people who don't even respect you. They don't deserve your care. They don't deserve your loyalty. Hell, they don't even deserve your anger. But your indifference, that's a weapon, sure. A sharp one. But it's not enough. Because indifference lets them forget you. And you weren't made to be forgotten. You weren't made to be another face in the crowd. Another story they skim over without a second thought. You were made to be remembered, to leave scars on this world so deep they'll never heal. Not the kind of scars they left on you, no. The kind of scars that remind people you were here, that you mattered, that you weren't just some passing shadow in their lives. But that's not going to happen if you keep playing it safe, playing small, playing nice. Nice doesn't change the world. Nice doesn't leave a legacy. Nice gets trampled over and over again until there's nothing left but regret. You don't want regret, do you? No, I can see it in your eyes. You want revenge, not the petty, fleeting kind that fades as soon as it's over. You want the kind of revenge that burns, the kind that lasts, the kind that makes them wish they'd never underestimated you. So stop hiding. Stop waiting. Stop holding back. Because every second you waste is a second they win. And you don't have time for that. Not anymore. You got work to do. You got a fire to build. A storm to unleash. A world to reshape in your image. And that's not going to happen if you keep looking back, clinging to the ashes of what they burned. Let it go. Let go of the pain, the anger, the betrayal. Not because they deserve forgiveness, they don't, but because you deserve freedom. You deserve to move forward without the weight of their poison dragging you down. And when you do, when you finally let go of their chains and embrace the chaos inside you, they won't know what hit them. They'll see you rising, stronger, fiercer, unstoppable, and they'll hate it. They'll hate you, and that's the best part. Because their hate, it's proof you've won. It's proof they can't ignore you anymore, that they can't control you, that you've become everything they feared you'd be. So, what are you waiting for? Rise, burn, become the storm they never saw coming. Because the world doesn't need another silent shadow. It needs a fire. It needs chaos. It needs you. And you were never meant to stay quiet. You were meant to roar. Oh, don't think I'm finished. We've barely scratched the surface. You're sitting there, still clinging to that tiny shred of hesitation, aren't you? That little voice whispering, what if I fail? What if I can't do it? What if they're right about me? You're afraid of failing? Failing is the best thing that can happen to you. Failure isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's the fire that burns away all the excuses, all the weakness, all the lies you've been telling yourself. Failure strips you bare and forces you to see the truth, that you're stronger than you ever thought possible. But you've been too afraid to even try. too afraid to step out of the shadows and face the world head on. Because what if they laugh at you again? What if they tear you down again? What if they see you trying and still manage to crush you? Let me tell you something, kid. They're going to laugh. They're going to try to tear you down. They're going to do everything in their power to stop you. Because that's what people do when they're scared. And you terrify them. They don't want you to rise because your success makes them face their own failures. Your strength reminds them of their weakness. Your fire burns away the masks they wear, exposing them for what they really are: small, insignificant, pathetic. But you're not like them. You've got something they'll never have: the guts to keep going, the courage to face the pain, the betrayal, the heartbreak, and turn it into fuel. You've got the kind of fire that can't be extinguished, no matter how hard they try. But that fire, it's useless if you don't let it out. If you keep bottling it up, pretending it doesn't exist, it's gonna eat you alive. So stop holding back. Stop hiding your light just because it makes them uncomfortable. Stop shrinking yourself to fit into their little boxes. You weren't made to fit in. You weren't made to be small, to be quiet, to be invisible. You were made to stand out, to take up space, to make noise. You've got something they'll never understand: resilience. You've been through hell, and you're still standing. Barely, sure, but standing nonetheless. And that's more than most people can say. That's your power. But here's the thing about power: it's useless unless you use it. You've been sitting on a gold mine of potential, wasting it on doubts and fears and what ifs. Enough. It's time to stop waiting for permission, for validation, for someone to tell you it's okay to be who you are. It's time to take what's yours. They don't get to decide your worth. They don't get to dictate your story. They don't get to tell you who you are or what you're capable of. Only you get to do that. And the moment you realize that, the moment you stop caring about their opinions, their judgments, their pathetic little games, that's the moment you become unstoppable. But it's not going to be easy. The world's going to fight you every step of the way. They're going to throw everything they've got at you, trying to break you, to make you doubt yourself, to drag you back down into the darkness. But you've already been through the worst. You've already survived the kind of pain that would have destroyed most people. And you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still fighting. So keep fighting. Keep pushing. Keep rising. Because every step you take, every move you make, every victory you claim, no matter how small, is a middle finger to everyone who ever doubted you. And one day, they're gonna look at you, and they're not gonna see the person they tried to break. They're gonna see a force of nature, a storm they can't control, a fire they can't put out. They're gonna see the real you. But first, you've got to see it for yourself. You've got to believe in yourself the way they never did. You've got to look in the mirror and see the warrior staring back at you. Because the moment you do, that's the moment the world changes. And you were never meant to be silent. You were meant to roar. You've been surviving, getting through the days, dragging yourself out of bed, putting on that mask like everything's fine. But let me ask you this, is that enough for you? Because it shouldn't be. Surviving isn't living, it's existing. It's scraping by, clinging to whatever scraps life throws your way, hoping for something better, something more. But here's the thing, hope won't save you. You think they care about your hope? You think they lose sleep at night because you're sitting here quietly wishing for something to change? They don't. They're not worried about you. Hell, they've probably already forgotten about you. And that's the real insult, isn't it? Not the betrayal, not the disrespect, not the pain they caused you. It's the fact that they don't even remember. You're sitting here, carrying the weight of what they did, while they've moved on like you never even mattered. Does that burn? Good. Let it. Let it fuel you. Because that's the truth they don't want you to see. You're stronger than they ever gave you credit for. Stronger than you give yourself credit for. They wanted you broken. They wanted you silent. They wanted you small enough to fit into the little box they built for you. But you were never meant to fit. You were meant to shatter it. To destroy every expectation, every limitation, every pathetic little label they tried to slap on you. But that's not gonna happen as long as you're sitting here, stuck in this cycle of self-doubt and regret. It's time to break free. Time to stop waiting for someone to give you permission to live your life. Because no one's coming to save you. No one's gonna hand you the life you want on a silver platter. You've gotta take it. You've gotta fight for it, claw for it, bleed for it if you have to. And here's the thing, you can. You've got everything you need to win, to rise, to build a life so big, so loud, so unstoppable, they'll choke on their own arrogance every time they think of you. But first, you've gotta let go of the past. Let go of the pain, the betrayal, the anger. Not because they deserve forgiveness, they don't. But because you deserve freedom. And freedom, it's the only thing that matters. Not revenge, not proving them wrong, not making them regret what they did. Those things are fleeting, temporary, hollow. But freedom, that's forever. So stop waiting, stop doubting, stop hesitating, because every second you waste is another second they win. And you were made to win. You've got the scars to prove you've survived, the fire to prove you've fought, the resilience to prove you're unstoppable. So what the hell are you waiting for? This is your moment, right here, right now. The moment you decide who you're gonna be. Are you gonna stay small, stay silent, stay stuck, or are you gonna rise? Are you gonna take all the pain, all the anger, all the fire, and turn it into something they can't ignore? Because that's the only thing that matters now. What you do next. And you were never meant to fade away. You were meant to burn, to roar, to rise.